Hello, all of you delightful beings out there, and welcome to the stream. I am Razim, and this is Scardev, as well as an Art Marten stream. We are using the TF Talkies today, so feel free to transform me to your heart's content. In the upper right, we've got our Scardev going on, the document and whatnot. In the upper left, we've got Plastic Duck Simulator, because ducks. And I kind of looked into it more, and holy crap, those secrets are convoluted as heck. And then in the bottom left, we've got Conrade, who's apparently having a couple of issues at the moment.
Oh no.
But he is looking for some additional support. He's trying to get some... He's got like 5 models that are just about done that he's been trying to get done and juggling around. But he needs a little bit of extra help to get him through. So if you guys can support, there's the tip goal set up. Otherwise, commissioning models is also a great way to help. Also, Stream Raiders will be a little delayed, because apparently it's broken at the moment, so we won't be running that during this. But anyways, let's get into things here. Yeah, Ren, it makes sense that, of course, they would wind up breaking Stream Raiders right before they close up shop.
Makes sense. It's unfortunate.
But yeah, I looked into the secrets on this on the duck thing because I was curious, and you gotta name some certain ducks certain things. On this map, you get a bit of the key for that door over there, but the main way to get the key is to go to the ice map, where...
Sir Rabane, Theodorus is sending you a hug.
Really? Interrupting me, Mala? Really? But you gotta go to the ice map where you've got this these paintings on the wall, and you gotta get a code from there, and apparently the radio on this map occasionally plays Morse code that you gotta translate for another part. It is so convoluted. So I'm probably not going to figure out the secrets on this anytime soon.
Fair enough. How exactly did you go about?
Oh, sticker party.
Well, that was apparently they added another new song. Why are these so good? Come on, guys! Slap stickers on the screen! It's all free right now.
And there's a hype train going.
And there's a hype trade, yes.
Well, we were gonna work on things.
Yes. Then this happened. As somebody slaps this sticker on the screen. I think it was playing 2 different songs.
Maybe.
But either way, it's done.
Yeah.
Alright, so first things first. Let's see here. First point of discussion, we have flat-footed rules. Do we even want to have those first off? I can understand having surprises, surprise encounters, but I don't know what we would even set up for, flat-footed armor class stuff.
Yeah, I don't think we should have flat-footed. I definitely think we should have surprise, where, like, your evasion is counted as 0, but...
Or reduced.
Give me a Wii right now.
A wee.
Dad.
Really?!
What exactly are the flat-footed rules?
We don't have any right now, but it's a common thing across multiple tabletop systems where if you are caught by surprise, it's a slightly more complicated, but the basic idea is you no longer get to add your dexterity bonus to your armor class.
Ah.
I know there's some more rules on what you can and cannot add and such. There's also touch AC, where there's also touch AC, where, if I recall, you cannot actually add your armor to your armor class.
Yep.
Yeah, touch AC 10 plus your dex modifier and or deflection bonuses.
Yep. I think you also get to add certain misc modifiers to it.
Yeah, well, any misc modifier, it's basically just nothing that's armor.
Yep.
And then there's flat-footed, which is denied dex.
Loveron, maybe you should get to the doctor. Please be safe either way.
Yeah.
The core idea being that when you can't defend yourself properly, you're being denied part of your natural ability to defend yourself. And touch AC is basically they just need to touch you. They don't care what they're touching, they just need to touch. But we wouldn't need any sort of touch-like anagram to our system since we already have special and physical.
Yeah.
Yeah. But...
I guess if you're caught by surprise, what we can do is, I guess if you're caught by surprise, we can just do you don't add your evasion to your evasion score. That's kind of the closest comparison that we have. Or we could go a simpler route and they just have reduced difficulty on their attacks.
Reduced difficulty might be the quick. Go ahead and tell.
I mean, I still prefer if they just count as having no evasion, but they can still apply all their integrity. Like if you're caught completely by surprise. Because how are you... If you failed every single check to notice you're about to be attacked, and then you get attacked, how are you dodging?
That's fair.
You see, I have 7 pairs of eyes. I'm kidding.
And besides, it's just until... I feel like it should just be, like, it's just 0 until you can...
Until your turn comes up. I like that.
Yeah, until your turn comes up. That way, like, it still gives the opponents, like, the chance to get a good couple of hits on you, but it also doesn't just, like, last forever or for, like, an extreme amount of time. Like, if you have a really high initiative, like, even if you get ambushed, you're still likely to, not get absolutely wailed on just by sheer dint of, oh, hey, you have a really fast reaction time, effectively.
So, do we handle it with surprise rounds where the enemy just gets to act once before initiative falls in, or... Because it would kind of stink to fall into initiative and not get to use your sneak.
Well, yeah, I think that we should probably make it so that way, you can take, like, one action.
Yeah, well...
If you're a part of the surprising party.
Do we want to limit it to just one standard action? Or, like, you get a full turn? I personally say one standard action.
One action is pretty common, so...
Yeah, one action is fine. Because that also means, like, you know, with one action, you could still take a movement action, and now you're next to the healer for the round proper. You know?
Alright. So, go ahead and note that down, Raharu. Surprise rounds. You do not get your evasion. Attackers or surprisers only get one standard action.
Wait, the person being attacked, right? The one that got surprised?
The one being attacked has no evasion.
Yeah. And what about the one standard action?
The attackers have only one standard action.
They get this for free outside of initiative.
Ah,
Yes.
okay.
Finally, making sneak in this game viable.
At least
It was
by
already
rules.
viable.
I was about to say, at least by rules.
I do think for any time, which would include for the brace maneuver, I think we should set it up so that they still have to roll accuracy, mostly to see if to make sure they don't get a botch.
Yeah, well, they also need to roll accuracy because they might crit.
Yeah. With zero
Yeah.
evasion, they're likely to crit, rather.
I think
'cause-
for that, crits will still be based on their normal evasion score.
I'm going to vote against that. It should be based on their current, the same as it is for the entire rest of the system. If their effective is 0, then, you know, you might just get crit.
I mean, that's kind of the point of sneaking up on somebody, is to get that crit anyways.
Besides, they still require 5 accuracy successes to crit on a sneak attack.
which is very easy to achieve, even into early mid-game.
Yes. But again, like the entire point of this is to, you know, try and get a free crit on the enemy.
Yeah, it doesn't really make sense to make the surprise attack have effective 0 evasion and then just use regular evasion for critting sake.
Well, the problem here is that, you know, in like a D20 system, it's based on the die, on whether or not you get a crit. It doesn't, like, even if they've got a lower AC, it's still, you're looking for that 20. Or what, if you've got adjustments, you know, but those aside, you're looking for a 20 on the die. With this, it's based on their evasion on whether you get a crit.
Don't people that use surprise attack as a mechanic are usually the rogue archetypes, and those usually get like either auto crits or increased crit range for doing so anyways.
Depends on the system. In Pathfinder and other D20 systems, usually rogues have additional dice for denying their target decks.
Ah.
And also, like, for this, I just want to bring up, like, for the thematics of this. The thematics of this is literally that, like, you know, the opponent doesn't know you're there. You have your entire pick of any target on their body that you can go for. This is someone who is unaware they're about to be attacked, and you're, like, standing behind them with a baseball bat. But you just, you know, for some reason, even though they're completely unaware, they have 0 evasion. You can't crit them because their normal evasion is, like, a 7. Even if they have an effective 0 with that. And to me, that just doesn't make any sense.
Are you?
My concern is this would lead to just nuking an entire encounter from the get-go. Very easily.
Hmm.
I mean, it's usually not easy to get up on somebody like that, but
Well, yeah, but if you... Ambushes are a thing all the time.
Yeah. Well, also, again, you keep your integrity for this. So, like, you know, the chances of you getting completely one-shot from a sneak attack are actually it's the same chance that you would get one-shot by a normal crit through normal gameplay. You don't get extra damage on top of things unless, like, you know, maybe they have like an ambushing specialty or something, but like that's, you know, through normal circumstances you don't gain any additional bonus damage, you don't gain anything. It's just you're way likelier to crit. And the chances of this nuking an entire encounter is the same chance that you have of nuking the entire encounter just from getting a single crit. So are we worried about crits currently nuking entire encounters?
I'm worried about an entire enemy team being able to insta-crit right from the get-go.
To be fair, at that point, it be unfortunately on the players if they don't have good perception of the bodge. That's just kind of how it would go.
I mean, for that to happen, the entire, like, an entire enemy force would have to bypass all of the perception of the entire, or investigation of the entire party.
I'll
At
concede
that point,
to
you're
the...
kind of, like, good.
I'll concede to the consensus, but I don't think this will work out well.
I do have a question. That how does this work exactly with AOE attacks?
AoEs probably wouldn't crit in this particular case.
No, they'd still have a chance to crit.
They'd still have the same crit.
Okay.
But also, attacks
Surprise
that tend to
fireball.
have AoE tend to have a lot of their EXP in the AoE itself and deal less damage.
Yeah, true.
Nobody likes a surprise fireball,
No one.
except for the Mongols. They're the exception.
Bro. Unless you're the Mongols.
This is the same for everyone, except for the Mongols.
But yeah, no, it's that one. The balancing around that is just more the EXP cap on moves.
I do understand your concern in this regard, but I don't think it be that abusable, honestly. It's just it is just for a single round after all. That can definitely swing things in either party's favor, but it wouldn't like terminate the encounter in a single round.
Oh, it
Besides,
very
they
much
can't
could.
even do any. They can't even do any full action attacks. So you know,
That too.
they can only do standard action or lower.
Well, I guess we are done with that point then. Next up, combo action cost. We kind of had some confusion on that before.
When you say combo action costs, what kind of actions you can use in a combo, you mean specifically?
Basically, what, how many actions it takes to actually use a combo. As I was understanding it, what we had before was you use an action to actually initiate the combo maneuver, and then you are using your reaction to hold it, and use it later when your other ally actually comes up. But
Yeah, I honestly thought it just functioned like a held action.
That's what I thought too.
So,
Okay.
like, you would just, you would initiate combo with like, whatever action you're trying to use with it. Like, if you're trying to do, like, a quick action combo, or let's say both of you are dedicating your entire turns to a full action combo. It just works like the whole holding an action thing, where you just hold the cost of the action and then use your reaction to take the action immediately upon the triggering action.
alright, so any disagreement on that? So you're basically limited to only standard actions or quick actions for your contribution to a combo then?
I thought we just said it worked like held actions.
Well, yes,
hold
but you use an action to initiate the combo.
Okay, wait, so are you saying that in addition to the held action, you have an additional action cost to it?
Yes. That's the way I was understanding it worked.
Alright, let me reread this.
It does say that it uses up both of your actions.
Yeah, that's why I was rereading everything. But it also says, however, if someone in the combo is not able to for some reason, those who are delaying their turn will still be able to take their turn at the end of the round. It doesn't mention if it uses up the action cost yet or not.
Which is why we need to go over this, because that's an oversight on the typing, on the wording and such.
Yeah.
So do we want it to continue to function the way that I originally planned, was you use an action on your turn to initiate the combo. Then you hold your second action for when the other person in your combo comes up, and that's when you attack. You would still be able to use your attack later in the round if, the other person gets knocked out or something. It's just but you do still only have that single action because you did try to initiate a combo.
Question. So it functions like a held action, but held actions are held using the quick action, so are you giving up your quick action and a standard action?
Where's the wording on held actions?
It's at the top of the chapter.
Oh. I thought I put it down below. Ah, there it is.
We did have 2 held action sections, one above and one below. And then I pointed that out and we concatenated it a while ago.
Fair.
So we did have that, just... we had 2 different versions in 2 different places.
Yeah, that's why I'm trying to avoid having explanations in multiple places. Even though people are like, you should explain it multiple places. No, I do not want to do that because we're going to wind up with things like that.
To be fair, it wasn't even just explained in multiple places, it was just an actual section in 2 different places.
No, it did have 2 different explanations.
Oh no, I'm saying it did have 2 different explanations. I'm just saying it wasn't like a little like mini explanation elsewhere, it was just a whole section twice, but different.
Yeah.
The way that it is.
Because currently, if you use the combo standard action thing to initiate it being a combo, but it functions like a held action, does that also take up that quick action?
Currently, yes.
Yeah. That's what I thought, but I wanted to check on that, because now, technically speaking, the cost is a standard action and a quick action.
That sounds a little bit heavy to me. I can see why, but at the same time, I'm not sure.
Oh, yeah, it definitely makes sense for the power that you can achieve with a combo.
Actually, no, I was wrong. It's a standard action, a quick action, and a reaction to take it. In order to actually take the action with the combo. Because you also have to use your reaction. It's everything except the one combo the standard action left.
I guess it makes sense to give up your reactions since you're already preparing yourself for doing the combo.
Well, yeah. I'm just pointing out the full total action cost is a standard action, a quick action, and a reaction.
Technically, the total cost would be everything.
Well, yes, but if in case it gets canceled, you still would have that standard action left over for whatever you wanted.
Yeah.
So it's technically everything, but also not like the cost of just, you know, setting up the action. I guess I should say.
Yeah, setting up the action takes one standard action, one quick action, and your reaction, and you have one standard action to actually execute the combo for when it comes up. And like we keep saying, if you get interrupted, you can still use it later.
Very nice, Hypno Daddy. Very nice.
So does that mean that everybody else that joins in on the combo is also using up those resources?
Yes.
When the turn comes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So, first thing I think we should go over is, do we want to keep held actions the way they currently are? I think we can go ahead and do away with the whole you use your reaction to take your actions immediately after the triggering action. And it's just simply, yeah, they triggered what you were looking for, so you take it immediately without costing your reaction.
I mean, I'm fine with that because there's already an action cost associated with it.
Yeah, the quick action is how you actually hold it, so... Any disagreement on that, Era? I'm guessing he probably stepped away.
Probably.
Yeah, my food's ready, so I said BRB.
don't think your mic caught that. I didn't hear that. But fair.
Well, another thing to consider is just for order of operations. Like, say like, common use for held actions is, as soon as you see aggression from the target, then you attack. Do we do it after do we say that it happens after the triggering action, or before the triggering action is resolved?
That might be where the reaction could come in.
Usually
reaction
before.
to interrupt, but yeah.
Yeah, most games do it as a trigger before.
I remember I had to yell at a DM one time because I literally said, the moment he starts trying to cast a spell, I'm going to shoot my crossbow. Because, like, you know, I was, like, aiming and tracking this spellcaster healer. And he went, well, technically speaking, he, like, you know, accepted that. And then, you know, when he started casting a spell, he went, oh, he gets the spell off. And I went, what? And he was like, oh, yeah, no. Like, technically speaking, it happens after the triggering action, so he gets to complete the action.
Not how it works. That's like the guy that decided to stab me back after I slit his throat.
Yeah. So I was just like, well, what's the fucking point then?
I think we won't have the reaction cost. I think it'll just be as soon as you see... As soon as the triggering action is stated, your action goes off. And I'll word it better than that, but
Just
basically...
say it, like, interrupts the action or something, you know?
Yeah, for the held actions, are will be used to interrupt. The reactions will be used for when something happens to you and you're reacting to it.
Yeah. So go ahead and note that down, Raharu. We are removing the reaction cost for held actions. Held actions interrupt the triggering action.
One thing I just thought of that I do want to bring up for the combo thing. Heavy weapon users are now incapable of combo. With their main weapon.
Oh, that is true. Because they always use a full action for big weapons.
Or 2 standard, depending, but yeah.
I guess so. Yeah, 2 standard, right?
Alright, well, do you have that noted down about held actions there, Raharu?
Yeah, held actions, removing reaction costs, held actions interrupt triggering actions.
Perfect. So then, back to combos. Well, do you have a suggestion on how we want to handle this, then?
I'm thinking about that currently. I just wanted to bring that up while it was still fresh. Because on one hand, tricky situation, because on one hand we're like basically removing an entire, I'll just say like a class's ability to interact with combo with their main weapon, but also, oof, ouchie, allowing full action attacks to combo.
Yeah. I mean, big weapons are meant to be the full action versions of weapons anyway. So
What we
it is. Go ahead.
What we could do is you are still able to use full action abilities. However, it is at an increased difficulty on both accuracy and damage. Which is a bit of an oof, but at the same time, I feel like the increased dice that they have from those would make up for... would at least somewhat balance it closer to a standard action ability.
Yeah.
And yes,
So whatever.
Squirrel is a medium weapon user. Or light.
So,
we haven't actually sat down and figured that out. We need to. But we also haven't had combat in forever, so, you know.
So what is the penalty gonna be? Is it gonna be like half of their dice taken away or something?
I just said the penalty. It would be increased difficulty on both accuracy and damage.
Oh, increased difficulty. Okay, sorry.
That's my proposal, anyways.
Yeah, capital D difficulty.
Yeah.
And, like, you know, I'm fine with that. Like, it'll still contribute a lot, but not, like, as much as it otherwise would.
Yeah, I suppose that makes sense.
Because, like, let's say they have, like, you know, a really strong thing. It goes from 8. You know, they lose, like... Technically speaking, they lose, like, a quarter of their expected successes.
So,
With +1 difficulty.
so that it would still be more powerful than a standard.
Which is why I was checking. Because if it's, like, you know, let's say, like, a standard of that times that. Yeah, it's still, like, 1.5 times the amount in terms of, like, expected successes. But then I guess that's... Well, no, because it's 1.5 on accuracy and on power, so...
Did you want to increase the difficulty by 2? How much would that skew the numbers?
Doing that would literally chop it in half, exactly. But also because there is a difficulty cap, there will be situations where that doesn't help, but then there'll be situations where that helps extra. So, you know.
Yeah. Because, like,
But numbers-wise, that does change it from multiplying by 0.4 repeating to 0.2 repeating, which literally cuts exactly in half. From 7 to 9.
Which definitely feels like a big oof for full action users of whatever variety, but at the same time, you also get more that you can have with it.
Yeah.
Because, like, I know for Asher, with his dynamic move, his standard action only has one additional target, I think. I don't have his sheet up. But either way, I know that he's got a lot more additional targets on his full action version of defrag, refrag than he does on the standard action. So
I mean, not like that would help with combo anyway.
Well, I mean, it would still allow him to get his heals off.
No. Combo attacks specifically set all extra targets and AoE to 1. At least we did that a while ago because there was the whole discussion over combo attacks with AoEs. And since extra target counts as an AoE, it sets it to 1. Regardless of what the move or other form of attack has for AoE, it will only affect a single target when used as part of a combo.
Ugh.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I suppose that makes sense.
But either way, there is still things like buffs and such that could be.
Well, yeah. I was just pointing out in that specific scenario, technically
Yeah.
speaking, you can.
Alright, well, I guess we're settled on. You can still use full action moves, but it'll be at +2 difficulty on accuracy and power. And otherwise, yeah, it'll cost you use an action to set up the combo, and then you use your other standard action later as a held action to set it off. So go ahead and note that down, Raharu.
Noted.
I think for the sake of fairness, even though technically the other person does not have to, use their, the second person in the turn order does not have to use their they do not have to hold their action. Technically, we're going to say that they still are considered as holding their action until after their turn, is what
Yeah.
I would say.
I'd agree with that, especially considering we could get away with the thematics of just going like, oh, hey, because you're working together, you're going to have to react to what your partner is doing. So,
Yeah, and
Yeah.
technically there's multiple people that can join a combo. Thematically, it'd be the only the last person in the turn order that would have to do their action, but they would still hold their action, but they would still do so anyways.
Yeah.
So fusion ha.
Yes.
We'll go ahead and put... So, the wording that I would want to use is that the action takes place after the turn of the last person in the turn order, but before the next person in the turn order acts. So it is technically between turns. So go ahead and note that down, please, Raharu.
Say that again.
The wording I would like to use is that it takes place after the turn of the last person in the turn order that is part of the combo.
But before, I remember you
But
said
before the next person in the turn
ne-
order.
Ah, okay. Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
So that way it is technically happening between turns of everyone. Alright. Well, I think that is taken care of for the combo. Unless we want to note anything else about it. I'll take the silence as a no. So, the next thing that I had that, kind of came to mind for me the other day was maybe a small reward for sticking with botches. Because a lot of the times, failing can... you got that bit of a embarrassing failure with the botch. But you also have so many options for getting rid of a botch altogether. Granted, obviously, the dice can always just say and stick with whatever. But I was thinking maybe we could go ahead and give a little reward if they just, stick to their guns and accept what the dice say. Stick with that botch. The idea I had was adding a boost die. Another idea I had was maybe it could restore an exhaustion or something.
I'd want to stay away from restoring exhaustion with it. But boost die, I'd be kind of fine with boost die.
I think it'd be alright with boost die as well, because there's not really a better alternative that's a light reward.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't want the reward being too big, and recovering exhaustion is pretty big considering the only way to do it is long resting
And eating.
and eating.
And eating.
You know, because stuffing your face fixes everything. Because it does. Stop staring at me like that.
You know, talking about keeping budgets just kind of reminds me of one time in Pathfinder where I got a 1 and then I reroll and I got another 1 and then my storyteller allowed me to reroll again and then I got another 1. Triple snake eye.
Yeah.
That was awful.
I've seen
Sometimes
those.
the dice speak.
One time I was in a D100 system. I rolled, and this is with you know, ones being crit and 100s being crit fail because it was a roll under system. I rolled 1, 1, 100, 1, 100, 101
Wow.
in a row.
Amazing.
And I remember that because it was so fucking ridiculous. Oh, hey, Conrad, thanks for following me. I'm not streaming or anything, but I just got the notification.
You gotta love it. I once triple 20'd on one of my GM's final bosses in the game. After threatening him with the triple 20 for 3 weeks straight, going, you know, when we hit this final boss, I'm gonna roll a triple 20, right?
We had a player back in the day, Tato, who rolled so many ones that we decided to just give him a free ability where if he rolls 3 ones in a row, he gets a nat 20 on the next roll. And he actually made use of that way too many times.
Wow.
Meanwhile, my dice.
We still need to get luck feats in specifically for run.
True.
We do.
I was catching up with one of my buddies the other day, and he went, "Hey, by the way, ever since I started running games, I've started rolling like you. I've had to fudge my dice to keep my players alive."
That is the GM curse. You roll really great as a GM. Not as a player unless you're playing the dumbest character you've ever made. Motions to Nova.
No, I roll really good in other games too, but especially with Nova.
I do not.
I roll best when it is against another player.
Ooh.
As evidenced by Jet last Saturday.
Yeah, true. Imagine trying to take the book from Jet when he had that death grip on it. Absolutely not. It has the answers to all of his problems, obviously. Why would he not have the death grip on it? Apparently.
I know there, like, literally there have been so many times that I'm rolling terribly the entire session, but as soon as it is against a player, which counts for me as a storyteller as well, I have insane luck.
Jeez.
There was one game, it was set in Wheel of Time. I was playing as a Shan-Chan. For those that don't know, they really hate magic users in the world. We had a magic user in the party. And the magic users in that system are bullshit. Literally, they can just suspend you in midair with no saving throw, no chance to get out. You just have to wait for them to decide to release you. It was broken as hell.
Oh, hey, sounds like Warhammer.
The spellcaster decided to use that on my character. So, when we set up camp for the night, I charged them, nat 20, nat 20, nat 20, and insta-killed them.
Wow.
Yeah, the DM kinda had to step in and roll it back and put in a rule that, yeah, you're not allowed to use that on him anymore. It just does not work. 'Cause, yeah, he had to kind of give me something for having stuck to character and not put up with that bullshit.
This person, this person's character species abhors magic and hates it in every way. Let me use magic on him and expect nothing bad to happen. Let's go.
Exactly.
What could possibly go wrong?
One person, like, tried joining the Warhammer fantasy game I was in while I was playing a really devout warrior priest, and they wanted to play a witch.
Oh.
And I had to tell them, don't.
I mean, even if I wasn't playing a magic hating character, unless the character I was playing was like a shrinking violet, I probably had the same reaction to being just suspended in midair against my will.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, at the very least, maybe build a covert caster if you're gonna be playing with somebody that's a magic hating race.
My character, he despises it, but he accepted it. Until it was used against him. It was one of those situations where I really don't like you. You should have a collar on. Somebody should be holding your leash. Because that's what they did. They had magic items that you put the collar on the magic user and then basically control the magic user and keep them from using their magic and such. Little bit of a spoiler, but the one holding the leash also had to be able to use magic.
Ah.
But nobody in the society knew that, so, you know.
Yep.
Really great series. You guys really need to read Wheel of Time. It does kind of drag a little bit about midway, but then it picks up fantastically and ends very strong. I just wanted to note that because I know a lot of people kind of give up at the midway point, and it's like, I know it drags a bit, but it does get better. It does get so much better. But anyways, going to note down, sticking with botches gives you a boost die.
Okay.
Do we want to put a caveat on that of they cannot attempt to get rid of the botch for this benefit?
Yes.
No, you just have to accept it straight up.
Okay.
If you try souling and it doesn't work, and then you accept it, well, you try to get rid of it, so.
You have angered the dice gods.
Alright, so that discussion point is finished.
Be back a moment.
Alright, so... another idea that I had the other night. The affinity feats. Specifically the ones to get a new type affinity. I've not been entirely happy with each one costing 25 XP. And with so many extra feats that require the type affinity feats, I was wondering about maybe going with a scaling system or just making them cheaper altogether.
I will say right now they effectively cost 10. I mean, I know they cost 25, but they effectively cost 10 because you have to have a move of that type, and getting an out-of-type move is, what, like 15 XP? So it's like 10 additional to pick it up.
We can also do away with that altogether.
You could restrict. Well, I didn't know it was move based. I thought it was you had to have that type or the type affinity feat.
It's technically the other way around, where you have to have a move of that type to even begin grabbing the type affinity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think we should we should do away with requiring you to have a move of it. And instead to get another type affinity, I was thinking maybe it starts at 3 XP and then goes up 5 for each additional. Beyond your 2 starting, of course. Because we don't necessarily want somebody with type affinity for every type out there, but if they really want to spend that much XP, then fine.
Late game character has type affinity for everything.
Yeah. Alternatively, we could have it cap at 25. So you can get, I think that would be 3 type affinities cheaper, and then they go to the standard 25 XP each.
So is this 3 XP on top of the cost of getting an out of affinity move?
Repeat your question?
Oh wait, hold on. No, yeah, no. I double checked. It's 10 XP for it, but or was it 10 or 15? Sorry, I'm just trying to double check something, and I have just realized that it was I was looking at the wrong thing. So,
Whoops.
yeah, okay. So out of affinity moves are normally at 15 XP. Is this then be like 18 and then 23 for the first 2?
Not where you're getting. I'm not sure where you're getting the 18 from.
Because you said it would be 3 XP and then increase by 5.
No, I said they would start at 10.
Oh, okay.
But we would do away with them having to have a move of that type.
Okay, so 10, 15, 20, and then everything after that caps at 25.
Yes. Oh, I had said that you would get 3 of them. You could get up to 3 of them for cheaper before the cap.
That's probably where I heard the 3 and was
Yeah.
like...
Yeah, that.
Just to give
All
a
right.
bit more access to those affinity feats.
Hmm.
And then you still have that cheaper option if you just want to get the extra...
The one.
The moves for those types are still going to be cheaper overall for an out of affinity move.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. What about you, Ura?
A generous bestowal.
Kenku tipped $10 for the good bean who makes excellent models.
Oh, thank you so much for that help, Kenku. Thank you for that tip. Yeah, guys, Conrad is in need of help here. He's trying to get a lot of things situated still from his move. So, if you guys can help, there is that tip goal set up for Conrad. And if you
Thumbs
somehow
up.
don't know, he's the 3D artist that's working in the bottom left there. But yeah, Era, you good with the type affinity feats scaling?
Yeah, yeah, I'm fine with that.
Okay.
That'll make Vari very happy.
It'll make my bullshit with Nova be cheaper eventually, anyway. So, you know.
Yeah, it was kind of stuff like that that was kind of part of why I was considering this.
To be fair, Nova's entire thing is bullshit and mostly for the memes anyway, and was not about efficiency.
Well, yeah, but it's still a... You're not the only one that wants to do stuff like that.
Oh, I know.
Like, I know for Squirrel, I want to get him stuff going with, you know, the 4 base elements. Or types, as well, so...
And then the avatar disappeared.
I still cannot get it out of my head, the idea of a avatar campaign. Obviously, nobody would be playing as the avatar, but...
Now I'm just thinking of, so, you know the one where it's like, that one cover of, The Last Agni Kai? Where it's like, fucking, like, 8 minutes long.
I'm not sure what you're talking about.
I'm just gonna grab it.
Riley, in his Riolu form, yes, he is a dragon fighting type. When he evolves to a Lucario, he is dragon steel type. Alright, also note down, Raharu, that you do not have to have a move of the type in order to get a type affinity feat.
From Road, it's erosion.
Raijin! Mwah!
I got it. Noted it down. I also noted down the cause. If it starts by 10, goes up by 5, and it says at 25, right?
Oh, there it is. Okay. I've got your notes up so I can follow along with that as well. I figured that would be beneficial. I just didn't see you add the move thing because I was on the next page.
Ah.
Riley, you can pull off whatever you want with Scar.
Yeah, we're trying to make it as setting agnostic as possible.
Exactly. Like, a lot of things are built around our typing system, but that doesn't mean that you have to stick with that. We do want to eventually release supplements for free, obviously. Because we're not going to tempt the wrath of, I think it's Capcom that owns Digimon. As well as Nintendo, obviously.
I think it's Namco that owns Digimon.
Ah, right, it is Namco.
It was one
Either way, not a winning strategy.
Exactly. But yeah, we'll release supplement books eventually that are like, so here's how you convert this to this franchise, or that franchise, so on and so forth.
And some unique franchises.
Mala, stop bringing up Star Wars when you know I'm thinking about doing that.
Hold on. Let me just put this Mala back in his box.
Well, I don't know anything about Rivals of Ether, Riley, so I could not help with that. Sorry.
Unironically, I've been thinking about that pun this entire time.
Star Wars.
I have legitimately been thinking about it the entire time.
I'm gonna use my punishment feat on Mala.
We're gonna put Mala back in the box a little bit quicker.
Anyways, that discussion point is finished. Next up, we really need to come up with rules for handling multiple special movement types.
You mean like in the same movement?
I mean that as well, but like right now we have it set up where you have a primary and a secondary movement type. So like in the case of Vane, primary would be flying and then secondary would be land movement.
Yeah, I thought we had that set up so that way you like, you know, any additional you picked up that weren't your primary just counted as a secondary.
Is that how we want to handle it? Because, I mean, while it does cost you a feat, that does feel rather broken.
I mean, is it? I mean, you still kind of have to, like, choose which ones to get. And, like, you know, just to give an example, I know for a fact that the twins have a fly speed, a swim speed, a climb speed, and a land movement speed.
Wow.
Like in Pathfinder, so.
Well, the fly speed is technically a spell thing that they've got.
But, yeah, but they could do that basically. So.
But
I just mean, like, for stuff they have available.
Yeah. And, I mean...
I think once more systems are put in place, it's not going to seem as crazy. Like, now that telekinesis can be used as movement, that's just, you know, another option that makes regular movement slightly weaker if you don't consider doing this.
Well, a telekinesis is not meant to be a faster type of movement. Because I do not want people just floating around with telekinesis.
Sure, but
very
it's
much
an option people can do.
Is it?
And it also just real quick, because this is relevant for this very much so. We already addressed this with the adaptive form under the shape-shifting thing, where you're able to grant yourself special movement types by, you know, whatever means, able to gain a burrow, swimming, or climbing speed at the cost of 10 stability each. You may also gain flying or hovering for 25 stability each. All these movement types are counted as secondary for purposes of determining your overall speed.
Okay. Then, yeah, we'll go ahead and stick with that. Go ahead and note it down, Raharu, that any additional movement types are, special movement types are secondary. Alright, so that is finished. So the next order of business here would be luck feats. I know, Era, you had some suggestions on that.
Yeah, they're in Scar suggestions.
Gotta scroll up to find them.
October 26th.
Gotta scroll up a lot to find them. I really gotta sit down and go through these suggestions soon.
Oh my goodness, it's an Enja.
Hello, Enja.
Hi, Digi.
Hi, DG.
So Enja, hypothetically speaking, if I begin to roll you, what will happen? Will you just roll, or will you roll and flail?
Mala, I believe you meant, oh yes, more dragons.
I was very confused there for a moment too, because it was like, why is Mala complaining about more dragons?
Hi, DG.
Alright, so if I'm...
Mala, he was saying in that squeaky. Sorry, go ahead.
So, I know the actual true combo, I've seen it be said other times, but the actual true combo was you roll a 10, and then the explosion from that 10 results in a 1. That was the true combo.
That has happened to me a few times.
Yeah,
Happens a lot, actually.
it happens so much. Rolling a 10 and a 1 in the same roll is... You know, that's not the true combo.
I know the last one he did is the stuff about true combo, though. Benevolent explosion. When you roll explosion dice, the effects of any ones rolled on the explosion are ignored.
Oh, okay, I didn't see that. I was only looking at the lucky bypass one.
Yeah, I wrote up 3 specifically.
Okay.
4.
Actually 4, yeah. Alright, so lucky bypass, we'll start with that. Would the exploding dice still count for 2 successes, but just not explode?
Yes. So it
I'm
still
okay
count
with
as
that.
2. You can just choose not to take the explosion because you're staring at a 1 and you don't want to use your luck. Instead, you just go, no, that one just doesn't exist. We're ignoring
But if you
that.
turn off her brain, there's at least 5 more successes waiting in that explosion.
Yes, but that involves turning off your brain, and only some people are capable of that, as proof by these dice rolls.
True.
Well, I'm okay with that lucky bypass feat.
Yeah, I'm fine with it. I mean, basically, it does the equivalent of, like, making it so that way you guaranteed get a success on the explosion, but only if you have 1s in the pool.
I'll take care of the notes on that, Mala. Maybe. Or,
Mala?
not Mala. Why am I not...
Sorry, Raharu, you've turned into a moth, apparently.
Apparently. Whoa.
I apologize that you had to become, of all people, a good little girl like Mala.
There it goes.
Please look at your character sheet and reduce your intelligence by at least 8.
Noted.
Alright, so delete that, because we are going to add it. Let's see, next one. Critical resilience. When you score a critical hit against an enemy, you gain +1 evasion against that enemy until the start of your next turn. feels slightly underwhelming for a feat.
We can always increase it. I know when I was, this was a while ago, but I do remember going back and forth with, do we want to increase difficulty on the person that you've, and I was like, I don't know if that's actually going to be fair.
No, but if you make it so that way, like, let's just say +1 to all defensive stats or something, so it increases all your evasions and integrities by 1 against that one person, that's like, you know, that's pretty good. Especially for, like, crit fishing builds, where, like, specifically they really just want to crit fish.
I'm good with that.
So all defense stats up by 1.
Yeah, basically, like, you know, all defensive stats by +1.
Because some people like crit fishing, including myself sometimes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, more like, you know, dice explosions go burst, so yeah, crit fish.
More dice, please. Give more dice.
Alright, so delete that one. Fortune's Favor. When you roll explosion dice, you may choose to roll twice and take the higher result. This ability can be used once per soul dot per long rest.
This is before we redid boost die.
Yes.
It's also before we put in the feet limit stuff, but that's easy to convert that.
Yeah.
I'm good with that.
Is this per dice, or is this just for the entire explosion? Like, basically, the explosion section.
You know, I actually don't remember.
I would say it's... Considering
Usually when you
are...
roll twice, it's a whole thing.
I would say it's per... Well, trying to think of what would be most balanced there. I would say it's for the chain. So, like, you know, you roll 2 10s, you can use it on one of them, and then do that for the entire chain all the way down until it stops. Considering it does have limited use.
Yeah, sure. That's fine.
And I would also say it can only be used once per roll. So you wouldn't be able to use it on that second 10.
Yeah, because otherwise, like, you'd get a damage roll, and you'd get one that had, like, you know, like 2 or 3 10s, and you just slam that shit. And just nuke something.
And the true combo ender is the last feat. The one I specifically made while thinking of Ren.
Oh gosh. Poor Ren. Guys, I'm sorry, but I gotta go for like an hour right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll be back for the game. Just sorry that I gotta go right now. Have a good rest of the details.
When you roll explosion dice, the effects of any ones rolled in the explosion are ignored. I'm good with that as is.
Yep, especially because it only works on the stuff from the explosion.
It only works on the true combo.
Yep.
It is the true combo ender. And as I said, specifically came up with it while playing with Ren. I was just like, Here's a bone feat.
Alright, so we got those.
One thing that I brought up a while ago and then never really we never really discussed much besides, oh yeah, we should probably do something with that, was the idea of a feat. This would probably be something that would actually go off secondary scale, but would increase your exhaustion recovery on full rest. Because as it stands right now, if you actually invest into your secondary attributes, there is literally no way to use them without and reduce and make it so that way. How do I put it this way? Even if you are like completely perfect maxing your exhaustion recovery every day, you can get up to 5 exhaustion recovery a day, which means that technically speaking, if you're really trying to use your secondary attributes, having more than 5 overall is not really worth it because you're just going to keep accruing exhaustion day after day. So I was thinking about a feat that increases your exhaustion recovery specifically on long rest by your secondary scale.
I would be fine with that personally. Heavy sleeper. We throw in a restriction that waking you up has an increased difficulty.
I mean, I don't really feel the need to punish people on it, but...
No, that's just funniness.
Yeah. But just making it so that way there's at least some scaling to that, so that way people can at least a little bit actually utilize their secondary attributes without being put into exhaustion hell.
So that would, if they completely max out their vigor and willpower, that would give them 5 additional exhaustion recovery per day? No. 10.
10. Because it's by the scale, which is divided by 2, so. You could put it to half scale, but also that feels really underwhelming.
I mean, it's also a very powerful ability.
I mean, that's fair.
And considering other feats and keeping them all balanced, I would say half scale. But of course, that would round up, so... Otherwise, I think with the half secondary scale, I would be okay with it. Any objections there, Era?
No, I just know exhaustion kicks some builds very hard, so...
Yeah, and this is like on top of the natural exhaustion you recover, so... You know, even if it's like on half scale and you get your scale to like 3, which would just be the equivalent of putting 5 points in secondary attributes, that rounds up to 2. So then on a full rest you'd regain 4, and then there's like, you know, the short rests and good meal throughout the day.
Alright, we just need a name for it.
Heavy rest?
The quote being sentient. Nice.
What did they say this time?
Given quote for DevTal. The quote was from Data Anomaly Hunters, where it was Riv going, "Well, now you have my brother here?" And Jace going, "That makes it worse."
I do not have a good name for this one.
Yeah, I'm struggling too.
Could always just make it quick recovery or something like that.
I think we've already got that. Or
Do we?
something similar. Quick cleanse, I think, is what we've got.
Quick cleanse. I think we have a couple things that are named quick, because we also have, like, quick focus.
Yeah. How about vigorous sleeper? I know it only
Well,
uses one half of it, but you know. Could call it morning person. You know, one of those people
Resilient
that just
respite.
one of those people that just wakes up and is full of energy completely.
But yeah.
I'm kind of liking morning person for it.
We can
I
always
mean, I don't
change it
really
if we
care
don't
too
like
much
it.
about what it's called. I just don't want it to specifically only mention one side of it, so yeah.
A resplendent
Oh! Avocado!
Bewildering avocado tip $90.
Thank you so much for that tip, Avocado. And also, thank you for those gift subs you gave while I was offline. Though you really confused me when I saw I had an offline hype train, apparently. But
You can
thank
get an
you so
offline
much.
hype train?
Oh yeah, I've done that to many people. Just never had it done to me before.
Remind
don't
me to
know
keep a
how
better
it
eye
got-
on my channel.
I don't know how it got triggered by only one person, but still. Alright. I'm calling it morning person.
But yeah, no, this is just because I know that, like, when you actually start investing in your secondaries, it literally just builds up on you so fast if you actually dare to use them.
Alternative name. Proper sleep schedule.
Well, now that's just impossible.
You're gonna offend the tabletop community.
Yeah, this is for the tabletop community, like.
To be fair, with the biggest fantasy of all of these games is actually getting 8 hours of sleep a night.
Real. But then again, that's why a lot of times they play in high fantasy, because you have to be high to expect that to happen, and it's a fantasy.
Alright. I know that you sent me a whole bunch of mass combat stuff, Tal. If you want to go over that. Though there is also one thing that I want to go over real quick with the magic system. And considering we're going to be going with... I want to do a brainstorm session on Monday, but I did want to get your guys's... I don't think I've gotten proper input on what you guys think of the skills and my proposals for how they would work.
Where is this?
Page 101. Remember, you can click on my little icon at the top to scroll to where I'm at.
Oh, I didn't know this got added. No, I thought we did go through this. Didn't we?
I don't think I got a solid answer on what you guys thought of how these skills would work.
I know I gave some input, but I was also on the thing of we need to know what the schools of magic do before we can really care about that as much.
Because I remember going through the schools and going, these are generally okay. I'd like more information, though.
Yeah.
So, the idea on this is we're going to have a bunch of different traits for each of the schools, and they're going to be basically the same as what the moves have, where you've got one trait that adds power, and then you can upgrade it to... So whenever you use that trait, you are adding 2 power, and then 3 power, 4 power, etc. So it'll function incredibly similar to moves. It's just going to be you can use them... You can string them together on the fly as opposed to a set, this is how the move works.
So with how this would work, like, let's just assume, like, 4 power, for example, because that's like, a little bit of an outlier here. Let's say you have phonemics at 3, so you can have up to, like, power 3. And would you then also be adding your sagacity to the, when you actually roll for
Yes.
the skill? And, okay.
So it would be just like a move, except, you're using sagacity as opposed to brawl or send.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I just wanted to make sure. On an aside, one good thing we could do for describing the sort of effects that phonemics has, at least for the specialties, we should just refer to effective rank, I think, in terms of that. So that way, if you have specialties or items or other things that, or like boon items that like affect it, those affect the effective rank of the skill. So we could just start calling it effective rank.
Yeah.
That way we have a term for it.
But then verbosity, I'm currently thinking it's 2 words per dot. And that's how many traits you can string together in a single spell. So, and these would have to be purchased individually. So, you've got, if you've purchased power 3, you can't use it twice unless you then purchase a second power 3.
Alright.
Is what I'm thinking. So, with the verbosity, if you've only got 1 dot there, say you've got the 3 dots in phonemics, so you purchase the power trait 3 times, or you purchase it and upgrade it 3 times, so you've got power 3, and then you purchase it again and get it up to power 3 again. Then with verbosity, you'd be able to string those 2 powers together for a total power of 6. There will still be the power cap and such that you can use per... You won't be able to go past the power cap either way, but that's just an example. Any issues with how I've proposed this works?
Right now, I think no, but we'll probably need to revisit this when we actually start getting, like, traits and stuff put together for it, because in a vacuum, this looks fine, but I'm also just not entirely sure how this is going to interact with what we make.
That's fair. That's fair. Just wanted to run that by real quick and see beginning thoughts before we, get into things more. Alright. Well then, let's go ahead and move over to the mass combat suggestion stuff that you've got. Did you put together a doc for it?
One that I've been playing around with. I won't, like, say that it's,
Also,
done or anything.
Okay, go ahead. I had to restart audio thing.
Okay. Obviously it's not done. This is more just like me putting together some rambles for the basic system that works. And it doesn't have too much in terms of, like, depth to it. But I tried to account for a couple of different things. I went ahead and just threw the link in ScarDev, by the way. As for you guys being able to edit, I am...
Literally named it Mass Combat Ramble. Fair enough.
Yep. I was in the middle of adding you guys as editors. Yeah, no, because it's mostly just me rambling.
Well, you know how it is. It's the common nomenclature of the things that you don't see.
All right, I'm gonna. Let's do that real quick. So, do you guys just want to read through this on your own, or do you want me to like explain things?
I'd rather you go ahead and go through it, explaining it a bit.
All right. So here are the different like sections of stuff that matter, in my opinion. It's not in exact order because this is mostly just me in order that I came up with it. So rules. First off, tactics. This is the tactical potential of a group. I started using force later, so I'm gonna just standardize that as I go. At the start of each round of mass combat, there will be a tactics roll by each side if capable. Winning this roll gives 1 stack of tactical advantage. Critical success grants 2 stacks. Tie results in neither side gaining a tactical advantage. Crit means doubling the opponent's successes, because this is just straight up an opposed roll. Tactical advantage is spent on the round it's earned, so you can't stack it, you can't stockpile it for later. And it can be used on a number of different helpful effects. When you have tactical advantage, you choose one of these effects for each stack you have. So, 1. Lower or raise difficulty on power checks this round by you or the opponent. You can only choose 1 per stack. 2. Lower or raise difficulty on morale checks this round by you or the opponent. Choose one of these effects. Gain +1 tactics dice for the remainder of this combat. Or 4, rally, which means you roll morale and regain that much cohesion. Cohesion will be explained in a little bit, as well as, like, morale checks and all that. Power. This is the offensive power each side has in mass combat. It is rolled each round, and the final result is multiplied by any difference in magnitude between the forces. Integrity. This is the defensive stat each side. It's a defensive stat at each side in mass combat, and it is a static number. Cohesion. This represents how good each side of mass combat is at maintaining formation or effectuating tactics. It is a dynamic number, and you lose cohesion equal to the damage taken minus your morale roll. Running out of cohesion disables your tactics roll until you somehow reestablish cohesion, forcing you to take the rally action instead of rolling for tactics until you've reestablished. Health. This represents how much damage each side is capable of taking, and it's a dynamic number. You lose health equal to damage minus integrity. Chip damage applies. Morale. This represents how hard it is for a group to break and lose cohesion. This is normally a static number, but certain effects may raise or lower morale during mass combat due to the situation each side might find itself in. Morale is rolled only if a side has taken damage this round or some other important effect has happened. Size, this is how large a force is in raw numbers. And magnitude, this is not a stat that is derived per force. Instead, each force's side is divided by the others.
I don't know what you mean by that.
I'll explain that in a second. So I went ahead and just made 2 small little example armies here. I guess I should say force. So example 1 is an experienced force with an inexperienced leader, and they're invading, just to like set up the situation. They have a tactics of 5 because they have a very inexperienced leader. A power of 11, integrity for morale 6. It's normally 5, but they're receiving +1 because they've had a string of victories. Their health is 15, their cohesion is 6, and their size is 65. The second example force is inexperienced, but they have a brilliant leader, and they are like the local defenders. Now, their size is 80. And here's where magnitude comes in. Each side divides their size by the opponent's size. So, for this, because this is a slightly smaller size, they're going to take a little bit of a small malice to their power rolls. And this side will get a slight bonus to their power rolls, because they outnumber the opponent. However, this is, like, a pretty small effect. Like, it's basically just to give a size that has more numbers some bonus in dealing damage. So, like, let's say you have 50% more soldiers, you would add 50% of your successful damage roll to your damage. If that makes sense.
It does, but it definitely feels like a very complicated setup.
That's fair. I was just trying to think about how to make numbers actually matter. Without just making it so that way the other numbers here are absolutely ridiculous by having the powers, integrities, and healths be, like, 10 times what they are. But down at the bottom, I put a little section on how to calculate force stats. So tactics is derived from the force's leader, generally from their mind and expertise and their appraisal skill, although other applicable skills may count with permission. The reason why I chose appraisal is because appraisal is specifically also listed as the ability to determine the strengths and information on an opponent. Or, like, you know, on a situation. So I figure that that is the most reasonable skill for there being a standard tactic roll.
I would personally say presence would probably fit better for this. Possibly. We'll go ahead and continue.
Presence is leadership. It's sort of like it was sort of a mashup. I just thought that appraisal fit the best because that takes into account what the opponent's doing as well. But yeah, no, we should probably involve presence somehow. Power, I just put this as the average power or application roll of the main attack of the things comprising a force. The reason why I put application rolls in case there's people with, like, you know, condition appliers. So that way they still count for this.
So this would just be taking all the numbers on the field and averaging them out.
Yep. Integrity, basically just take the average of everyone's integrity for special, physical, and special, and then divide by size. Basically just take the average of everyone's physical plus special integrity, divide by 2. Morale is what I sort of put the soul save for. Because I figured that fit the best for it being the morale stat of an army. Soul and integrity.
I'm good with that.
Health, combined max HP of all the members of a force, then divide by size. So if you have, like, a bunch of people with, like, a bunch of health feats in, like, you know, an elite corps, they're going to have a massive health compared to other forces where it's, like, militia, where it's just their base attribute total, effectively, their average attribute total.
Question on this specifically. How do you determine when your army starts to shrink then?
I was thinking about that, and that was something I was going to ask you guys about, because this is kind of supposed to be, like, you know, some minor, less complicated stuff, and then I started expanding it out, and then I'm like, I should probably ask before, like, including all of this stuff, because this was supposed to more just be a minor thing. But we could circle back to that in a second.
Yeah, I was about to say, let's circle back.
Cohesion. This is a special and assigned stat that focuses on how put together and effective they are at listening to, carrying out, and adapting to orders as a force. So, like, you know, if you have, like, an untrained militia, they're probably going to have a really low cohesion. And if you have, like, a force where it's comprised of, like, you know, veteran warriors that have fought under you for a while, probably will have a really good cohesion. I wasn't really able to think of a way to, you know, determine cohesion, but maybe that might be the best place for, like, the leader's presence to have an effect at keeping cohesion. And then size, it's literally just the number of people in the force. I didn't stick magnitude down here, but it literally, you just take each force's size and divide it by the others. I played with a couple other ideas of it, where it's like, you know, what about if I included, like, magnitude as, like, you know, divide size by 10, and then did all this, like, complicated stuff, and I'm just like, this is... It's getting very complicated very quickly, trying to account for size differences. So,
What?
when it came...
So something that came to mind for me is maybe instead of the full army of each side being, you know, it's just two full armies fighting each other, we could have it where they are divided into squads.
Yeah, I was thinking contingent, but yeah, squad also works.
Squad can, whatever we name it.
Yeah.
You know, it would... We would probably have it be a situation of, like, 10 people or something, you know. Because that would probably be the best way to handle size difference, is you just simply have more units on the field, basically. Kind of like, you know, how Total War works.
Yeah. In order for, like, scaling, do you think I should reintroduce magnitude as, like, you know, a magnitude 1 force would be, like, having 10 people, a magnitude 2 force would be having 100?
For larger scale battles, yeah, I think we could do
that way. That way, we could have, like, entire things. But, like, you know, let's say someone has, like, let's say there's supposed to be some grand epic scale thing going on. They have, like, you know, squads of magnitude 4 running about because it's thousands versus thousands. But this way, they don't have to actually roll, like, thousands of dice.
Yeah. I'm thinking, for the sake of simplicity, the health might be how many people are in that squad. It's not the best, it's probably not the best way to handle it, but it's also something far simpler that I think would be easier for people to figure out, because sitting down and actually adding up the max HP of, you know, 1,000 people, or even just 20 of them, and then doing all that division and such, that's a lot of work.
Yeah, but also, then what's the benefit of actually having elite troops versus as many peasants and militiamen as you could possibly get?
One sec.
I had an alter.
What was that?
I said I did have an alternative thought.
Were you able to hear what I said, by the way?
Not exactly. Kind of got distracted by audio glitch.
Okay. I was just saying, like, if their health is just equal to how many people they have, then there's not really that much benefit to having an elite force compared to as many peasants as you could possibly grab.
Okay. Hopefully the audio will stop glitching. So the benefit there is the peasants are going to probably have more attacks. However, the elite force would probably have a higher power altogether.
Yeah, but if chip damage applies, the peasants will just always kill people of the elite force no matter what, pretty much.
I would say chip damage may not apply for mass combat.
Alternative option. What's the power rolls look like in this?
Because I specifically was trying to make it averages and cut it down and then just have it be modified by the amount of size, the power rolls are actually pretty much the same as you'd get in individual combat.
Okay, because I was going to say an option would be to every time that you roll an HP into negative, a person falls. And then it just cycles.
I like that idea.
So if the average... Because as much as I don't like how much math would be needing to be involved in a large-scale battle for rounding out all their health, you're already in a large-scale battle. You guys might as well put in the footwork at that point.
What I definitely know that there is going to be math involved on this. Very much so. However, I would like to limit that as much as possible.
That's fair.
Alternative is we could just base it off of the... Well, that would still be a lot of addition and division. Never mind.
What I'm thinking is we could probably set up categories for the forces that kind of have... I'm not fond of this idea, but the best way that I think that we should handle this would be having a few different factors that, like, predetermined stats.
Yeah. I was
Based
thinking about
on-
doing that. Yeah.
Based on, elite troop versus inexperienced farmer.
Basically stat blocking.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was thinking about doing that. I just wanted to get the base rules, like, generally approved before going and trying to make all of that. Because otherwise, that would have been a lot of wasted effort.
I do like Era's idea about each time the HP goes into the negative, that is another unit lost. Another soldier. For the sake of simplicity there,
Yep. And that way, like, even just having things like my idea about local defenses increasing, effectively just increasing the health, it'll still just work out fine for that.
Yeah. Hey, Cairo. Yeah, I think the best route to go would be basically stat blocks, having equal sizes and dividing up the army, with the magnitude idea, 10, 100, etc. I know it won't help if we get into situations where, like, there's 65 troops as opposed to, a nice even 10, a nice even 70 or 60. But in those cases, we can just tell the storyteller, hey, if you can't easily divide by whatever magnitude you're dealing with, they just get an extra HP or something for extra soldiers or something like that.
Yeah, like, maybe just spread some HP throughout the rest of them, or
Exactly.
or just have one where it's like, because, if we do it so that way the health, like, every time it gets reduced to 0, the size is reduced by 1, like, you could just, like, divide the stats, like, the power by the amount of people that they're under strength by, and then just have them fight as normal.
I just figured cycling HP would make it the easiest.
Yeah, it would.
And then you get to watch numbers dwindle, and that always makes the people happy.
Yes. I would say with that, after the battle, like, we can put in a note that just because this is saying that they are losing these troops, it does not necessarily mean they're dead.
They're casualties, not necessarily fatalities.
Exactly. So they're just not able to fight anymore.
Yeah.
And actual wounds can be divided up as the storyteller pleases for the force afterwards.
Yeah. But I figure that this is like a good place to start, and then we could start like deriving traits and other like special mass combat actions later on. Or I guess I'll start doing that, but like, you know, just like as a base, this lets people mash numbers together and see things happen.
And feats.
I definitely like this idea.
It's a good start.
Yeah, it's definitely a good start. I'm liking a lot of these terms and such for it. A lot of this, I would say, like, we'll have the stat blocks, but those stats will be influenced by who the leader is.
Yeah.
And it also gives better, in splitting up the armies, also gives more opportunity for players to all be involved.
Yeah. I was
Rather
thinking
than-
about doing that already. It was just more the whole thing with, let's get this going as fast as possible and then flesh it out more.
Fair.
Because I was just sitting there like, could I, technically speaking, wargamify this immediately and just start deriving how to, like, split all of this up into different contingents and, like, special rules for all of them? Yes, but I should probably get the base rules approved first.
Me sitting here going, goodness, now I have to add this to chart if we ever do another one-shot. Pirate Captain.
To be fair, if you're like a pirate, like, you know, you could mostly just get away with having like 2 or 3 of these. It'd be fine.
I could.
By the way, did we want the leader's presence to affect cohesion or morale?
I would say it would most fit in morale.
Are we leaving the other one as appraised then?
Let me bring up the sheets.
Because there's also etiquette.
Yeah, but tactic, like, so the appraisal skill, we specifically, like, you know, pointed out and had it be that, let me read it out. Appraisal is your capability in evaluating the value, status, and strength of an opponent. This also applies to see how risky challenging others may be and where their health and general strength stand. I figure that is probably the best that we have in terms of determining the like, you know, basically being able to evaluate the enemy correctly. What they're doing, what they're going to do.
Yeah, I can see that argument there. I'm just trying to... We definitely do not have a good skill for this. Not one that would fit every... You know, not one that would fit perfectly.
Yeah, which is why I said in the thing that this was just the standard. Other applicable skills may count.
Maybe presence for cohesion and etiquette for morale.
I'm good with that.
And then just leave it as a praise, because then
The-
we're at least using 3 skills.
The other thing that I was thinking for tactics perhaps initiative. It definitely doesn't fit as well, but at the same time, it's a lot of the time when it comes to tactics, it's about outthinking your opponent. We could, alternatively, we could have both apply.
Have it be choose one or the other, or have both.
I would say just both. I mean, it is mass combat. Letting them roll more dice is
All right, so
You're already this far in.
yeah.
So plus appraisal plus initiative. Generally from their mind plus expertise plus appraisal plus initiative.
Yes.
Because I really think appraisal should definitely be a part of it, because it's literally how you evaluate an enemy.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
All right.
And then tactics, I would say probably... Yeah, tactics don't get anything from the force itself. That is purely the leader.
There's presence. And morale this is... I think we said etiquette for morale.
Yes.
As I misspell it quite
Yes.
badly.
Because no offense, how you speak to people on the field does have a dramatic effect on how things are handled. A leader needs to be able to keep his cool even under pressure. And sound like they're in control, and that sounds very much etiquette.
And then add leader's effective etiquette rank.
I definitely want to move away from the... Yeah, we're going to go with stat block, so morale... I think the fluctuation of things will come from the leader as opposed to the... as opposed to the...
Averages.
Yeah. 'Cause
I think
that's so
leader
much math to
and
figure out.
yeah, leader and situational modifiers. Like, you know,
Oh yeah.
definitely we need to keep in the whole situational modifiers thing. Like, I think giving a health bonus to defending forces if they have like defenses ready is probably a really good idea. You know, all that kind of shit. Like, you know, oh hey, this is an invading force, but they've won like the past 5 battles in a row. Yeah, no, they're receiving some morale bonuses, buddy.
Plus,
They're on
renown
a hot
probably
streak.
affects things.
What'd you say?
Renown probably also affects things.
Yeah, like, you know, if you're fighting under your world's equivalent of Alexander the fucking Great, you're probably like running on a high.
Or shitting yourself, depending.
Depending, yes. Which is also why I didn't want to specify presence leadership for the skill. I just said I just wanted it to be presence. That way, it left it open to using intimidation or something instead.
Yeah, because presence is both intimidation and inspiration.
Yeah,
It's no. You aren't following this guy and charging in like your life depends on it because you love this guy. It's because you're afraid he's gonna kill you if you don't.
But yeah,
And then
I will absolutely say, if I came across rules like this where it's like, yeah, you're supposed to add all this up, I would be like, yeah, fuck you. I'm just gonna wing it. So
That's
it would be
fair. I
better
was
to
just
have the
trying-
stat blocks.
I was just trying to think about how to account for mixed forces rather than completely uniform forces.
In that case, they just have a squad of that, you know, that,
But that was also because I was mostly just worried about like, okay, so like let's say the players want to integrate themselves into the army and act as like, you know, little things even if they aren't the technical leader because you only have one of those. So how would them joining a thing actually affect the unit's stat blocks, yada yada yada.
yeah, let's just,
I'm just gonna fucking hero hammer it at this point.
I don't know that reference, but
Ah, okay. So basically, it just means that the leader characters are still just going to keep their own stat blocks and, like, you know, just fucking go at it.
PC's PC.
PC is PC. Hero hammer time. Congratulations, if you have good enough stats, you're just going to start wading through lesser enemies.
I will definitely say the players would not be... Because I know I've done some mass combat before where it's just like... It feels kind of cool, but also really overpowered that the, you know, my lightning bolt spell was barely doing damage in a, you know, 5-on-5 fight. But apparently, since there's more orcs, that just means I'm killing swaths of them with each cast. I don't want to... While it feels cool, it also feels weird, so I want to avoid that.
Yeah. Well, it's helped by the fact that, you know, lowering an enemy to 0 health just knocks out one of their members. So now it's like, congratulations. Do that 9 more times.
Exactly.
In terms of how AoE attacks will affect it, well, you know, we'll get to that.
I say that the players are simply part of each squad. So we're not going to deal with AoE, we're not going to deal with stuff like that. It is just simply, however the force is fighting, that is how they're fighting. It's still as effective as, you know, everything else. Keep it simple.
Yeah. Yeah, I was just thinking about how to do stuff like that, where it's like, okay, what if I just have them like choose like whatever their main attack is going to be, and then like, you know, if it's stronger than the base that's being used by the rest of the team, like rest of the squadron, then like, you know, it goes by that stat. So like, let's say you have like a power 16 attack that, like, you know, you like using it, it doesn't have like a bunch of negatives attached to it or something. Like, while you're attached to that unit, just count it as your use, like that unit has that stat now.
I would say that for this, we'll probably divide the squads up. Because, you know, if you're a barbarian charging into battle with your two-handed axe, you're not going to be as effective as leading a force of magic users. So, which stat... So, the leader will have one of their attack skills applied to the power, but it'll be which one determined by the general makeup of the squad.
Yeah. I'm just saying, like, you know, if you have like a higher stat than the rest of the squadron, then, like, you know, you're not going to be gimped by joining it. Like, you're not suddenly going to attack less powerfully because the swordsmen around you aren't as good at hitting as your barbarian character.
Well, that's why I'm saying it'll be based on, like,
Yeah. No, I know
You're
what
the
saying.
barbarian, you're leading swordsman, while you would already have a pretty decent clash, so you're just helping out the squad by adding... They would be based on clash, so you're adding your clash to theirs.
Yeah,
But
basically.
if you are, you've got a bunch of people that primarily use send for ranged attacks, you'd be adding your send, and if you are the barbarian with a bunch of clash, you're probably not going to have much send to actually add to that force.
I was thinking about trying to, like, what's the word for it? Simplify it by just going by melee or ranged.
I say it's okay to expand it more than that with weapons and versus moves.
I mean, that's fair, but also, like, if you're capable of hitting like a truck with moves, you'll still probably be helping out the swordsman you're trying to follow up with.
Then we can do melee, and it'll be your brawl / or clash added on, and then for range, send or marksman.
Yeah, that's what I was planning on doing, because it's just like, it. On one hand, I get it, but also, like, even if you're using like a fuck off massive bow or something, and everyone else around you are being like, magic casters, you're still gonna be helping them out because you are a ranged character applying your ranged damage.
Yeah, I'm good with that. But sounds like you got some work to do.
Yep. But I already had like some ideas in mind for how to get all of this going. I just wanted to get more of the base stuff ironed out, so that way I could actually make stuff that works with it. And so now that we have the base stuff, is there, hey.
Alright. For the integrity, you just add your integrity. Doesn't it, the actual skill. And then for health,
Yeah,
I think that would just... I don't think the leader would add to health.
What I was thinking about doing is, there's... I'm gonna have to swap this out for also, attaching a leader rules. For, because there should be different... The base stat blocks will be the base stat blocks and all of that. But, swapping it out for rules on, attaching a leader to a force.
I'm not following.
Basically, I'm going to, how do I explain this? I'm going to be making an entirely new section for adding a leader to a force.
AKA, he's going to set it up so that way first you make the force and then you add the leader stuff to it second and how to do that.
Yeah. Because I'm going to include, all the, standard stat blocks and then rules for how to calculate a custom force later on. So, this is going to get kicked down. Because, having rules in there for how to, technically speaking, calculate a completely custom force.
Okay, fair enough.
Because, people are going to want to do that.
Yeah.
There will be people out there who will go, okay, this is a lot of work anyway. Give me my custom force.
I'll be in my corner, thank you.
Yeah, I'm one of them too. That's why I'm going to keep the rules in for it. But, this is going to be more stuck down near the bottom. Because instead I'm going to be putting in rules for the base stat blocks and then how to add a leader and then how to create a custom force.
Well,
Alright. Well, I think we're good on that, and you can get underway with that. Good night, Cairo. Thanks for coming by.
On the plus side, we will now at least have some rules for mass combat, enough that people can, like, just smash numbers together.
Yes.
Which, obviously I want to add increased support to this, but having it so that way people can smash numbers together is a great first step for it.
Do also make sure you include rules for a healer squad.
Yeah. Yeah. I was going to do that with the special stuff, because it was literally just going to be rolling to restore health. The only thing that I'm thinking about that I'm currently internally debating now is whether or not they can restore lost size, or if it's just health, missing health, within the current size.
I think for the sake of simplicity, it's just within the current size.
That's what I was thinking, but you know, you know what? I have a great way to explain it. There's going to be a very expensive healer stat block force that I'll make, and it'll include true healing, and it can restore size, but every other type can only restore health.
Sounds good.
That way, there's a way to do it, and it's prohibitively expensive, technically speaking, in terms of, like, quote-unquote force power.
Okay, Brian's not here, so I can't make the joke.
Don't worry, if he was here, I just say if he buys it, he is required to take the trader trait with it. Where at the worst time, they'll just betray you.
I was really tempted to make the not working healer.
He had like 5 in medicine and like a mastered specialty, and like did almost nothing with healing. It was kind of funny.
Yeah. Why do you think I kept yelling at him that he's not allowed to say he's the healer?
You see, you set up a nice medical tent for him the back of the army, and then you find him on the front lines 3 minutes later for some reason.
Stealing a knife because he doesn't have a pen.
I thought he stole a pen because he didn't have a knife, even though he had a pen. I don't remember.
No, he had a pen. But he took a knife because he didn't have a... He said he didn't have a pen. And so I guess he was going to write with his blood. But, you know, it was actually so he could stab the boss.
Also, real quick, I have found something that is amazing content-wise, and I just must share it. It's an image that just says, ADHD is getting a rebrand. What are we calling it now? Top comment, Hocus Focus. The focus is there, then poof, it's gone.
Yeah. Yeah. Alright, we got about 20 minutes left before game time.
I was gonna go grab food.
So it might be a good time to give us a break.
Yeah. I will probably keep working on stuff here. Then again, a break wouldn't be bad.
Do healthy things then.
But work, I have so much to do.
Healthy things then.
Fine.
Take a 15 minute and get ready. Go eat.
Well, thank you everybody for joining us today for this DevTales and Art Marten stream. Check out our website, zgfgaming.com. We got links for our Discord, Telegram, Mastodon, Blue Sky, Patreon, and more. They're on the website as well as down in the description below through our link tree. Thank you to my patrons, tippers, and subscribers. It is your support that keeps this channel alive and going. I cannot do this without your guys' help and your support, so thank you. Consider becoming a patron over at patreon.com/zgfgaming. It's one of the best ways to support the channel, though you can also do so by sharing the stream around, as well as coming by, hanging out, grabbing packs of cards to stream loots, using our Humble Bundle partner link, or commissioning one of the artists that I manage for, such as Conrade, who is joining us here this evening. But for now, thank you so much for joining, everybody, and I bid you the most fondest adieu.
Bye.